Alright, we are doing this a little bit later than usual, but still willing to do it, so we'll see if anyone comes. So, I should also point out that the Giuliani script has been done for about maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and I just have been trying to compile some clips. I recorded this stuff again today because I didn't like the audio quality from the version before. So maybe I'll do it again, or make another attempt to do it tonight. I don't know. We had the New Hampshire primary last Tuesday. I think actually this is the first stream we've done since Yang got out. Wow. That's quite the, I just noticed that because I've had a couple of his supporters, they occasionally will show up, and I mentioned that it seems as though unless you put his name in the title, they just don't appear. Like, it has to have Yang in there for them to see it or to even acknowledge its existence. So, it was just the thing I most remembered about them. God, what a aggravating week this has been. I mean, it's not all bad. It's just kind of certain things were a little annoying. And then you get the higher quality camera, but you get the basically the broken arm from having to hold it the entire time. So that's a lot less desirable than I'd like. It really feels like a lose-lose situation because if I do the one on the laptop, it's a lot more comfortable for me, but then the sound quality isn't as good, and the video quality gets, people whining, so it's kind of just, you get screwed one way or the other. And then we have the musical YouTubers where it goes from 3 to 2 to 4 to 2. It just, people need to make up their damn mind if they're going to come in here or not. That'll be my next Christmas wish. Nothing can exist without a creator. Oh, I see Mr. Urban World's been reading the Bible. He decided to check out that good little novel. The never-ending book. I just have this weird feeling that if you were to actually poll Christians on how many of them have read the entire Bible, it'd probably be like less than 1% or something. And I haven't seen it in a long time. So I was a little shocked for you to appear. Yeah, there's a lot there. I really theoretically could do a whole just times have been rough emotionally. Hey, well, I'm sorry. At the very least, I won't have to hear about how I'm the reason you decided not to watch. Because I'm supposed to jump in your skin and make you tune into every stream. That's what the YouTube content creator is of the modern era. Just a punching bag to be blamed for everything. I remember I did this one. I think it was a stream or an upload, and there was a person who came on there and said they couldn't hear me. So the audio of the video as I'm reading their comment, the video is playing automatically. So I'm hearing myself in the video while they're saying they can't hear me. Things like that are just really amusing because it's that whole like Twilight Zone thing of, yeah, you're mumbling and I can't hear you, but then if you actually play it at full volume or somewhere close to that, I can be heard perfectly fine. I don't know why I have to scream for someone to hear me. That's really weird. But this is the internet, so all the strange personalities and character traits come out. These websites, man, they are just such a strange place. That's why I pretty much abandoned all of them. I got off of Twitter. Um, I got off of Instagram. I got off of Wikipedia. Every last one of them. Just the whole 9 yards. Because all they do is house stupidity. I remember on, let's see, MySpace was my last true social media. I have IG, but I deactivated it here and there. I didn't deactivate mine. I just got tired of posting because it was kind of similar to, what do you call it? To YouTube, where it's like you get a bunch of followers and then they don't actually interact with your content. And then, I just said, forget it. I don't know. I just kind of, like, that's been the growing theme of all of my social media disillusion that like with the when I ask for donations, I understand that that's a thing that depending on people's economic circumstances, they're not going to be able to do even if they'd want to. But when it's the like button, when it's favoriting some or liking someone's picture on Instagram, these are things that are free. And I would sit here and I would just say to myself, 2,000 followers and only two or three can hit the button. Are you kidding me? And then you go to some of these people's pages, they're on there every single day or they're posting very commonly. And it just baffles me. Like I was befuddled by the weird just behavior of people on these websites, man. Like that one chick that came on my page and she was like, "You have very nice art and I like it," and blah 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 blah. And then literally, no, Mr. Underworld, that was a thing from this art from last month. Let me say hello to Envoy. They were saying that my stuff was good, and I was like, well, and I didn't say this to them, but I thought to myself, if it's so good or if it's as pleasing to your eyes as you claim it to be, then why the hell haven't you favorited any of it? Which again costs nothing. I could see if you didn't buy prints or do something else that required some financial transaction, but these are things that are free that you can literally do with one click of a button, and they just refuse to do it. That's why I said believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. Well, I mean, Walt, that comments about do you know how to edit videos a week after you watched me edit a video, that did kind of rub me the wrong way, but I'm not upset. It's just like, are you kidding me? That's like me being in the NBA and scoring 50 points during one game, and then somebody's like, you know how to shoot? You know how to dunk? Okay, I should be getting a new job soon and willing, so I would definitely be sending some donations. I appreciate your hard work. Well, I also would appreciate that in duality. Again, if you want to, you can. If you don't, it is what it is. I can't remember what I did yesterday. I didn't say that you could. And I also want to say thank you to Urban World for the super chat. From getting a new PC, medical bills, and starts in my small business, I don't have as much I would like, but I hope I can turn this year. I mean, it's fine, Envoy. No one is trying to demand you. There's no, this isn't some kind of race against the clock. We're not going to have our own tournament of power here. You got 24 hours to send something in or some kind of crazy time limit. Yeah, this has been a really. I'm gonna see if I can finish the. I know I've said this for like the eighth time, but I'm gonna try to do the Giuliani one this week. I've been writing out the script. Are you trying to figure out money making machine? Yeah, this is the tournament of donations, Envoy. Over there begging. I really should have made some super content, like maybe once a week or something, because I did that. I did record a video about how 17 broke Dragon Ball, but I never drew the picture for it because I don't like to use images from the show because they go after people for stuff like that, even though it's fair use because it's there to for the a visual over audio that I own. So I'm not going to give them any kind of leeway. Yeah, I'll probably try to put that up this week as well. But yeah, with the Giuliani thing, I recorded the audio. I've got the parts where I'm on screen. I just want to get it out of the way because it is dragging on. I don't like continuing, turn into the boy who cried wolf with that thing. Well, Walt, I kind of gave up on the internet stuff. I mean, I mostly do this out of hobby because, I wouldn't be putting together something that takes a couple days for 50 views if I didn't have passion in it. Especially that for the show Envoy, the last episode of season 3 is going to be an hour long. I've already started working on that. Well, if you're talking about the Giuliani one, that's going to be somewhere in the ballpark of 50 minutes to an hour. And then the one I did on 17 is like 10 minutes or 11. And for that one, it's just I haven't gotten around to drawing a picture for it to put up as the background image. Because I always prefer to put, like, if I'm gonna put up visuals, it's either something I own or something I drew. Because these copyright clowns got my nerves. I see there's a manhunt for teen who murdered his mom and 6-year-old brother, and on top of there's a gang of serial killers in Cali. World is going nuts. Yeah, Mr. Urban World, and I'm scared. I'm shaking in my boots. You're gonna have to invite me over to your home. Imagine one of my subs is just like, we can't lose you out there to those demons in Cali. Come here. And I get flown out. Yeah, we had all kind of little jokes like that where they go and they have my face on the milk carton and try to figure out which sub stole me. And then Envoy announced to the World Wide Web that he's making spaghetti. If the world was coming to an end, I'd accept a few trustworthy YouTubers. I'd be so flattered by that. I don't know if I'm on your list. You might be talking about someone else. Oh yeah, it's cool. Uh, Damn, Ruben knows how to make an entrance. I appreciate it. Also, I did start on the shift one. I was watching one of his videos, one of the clips of him from 2015, which is the era of the Benghazi crap with Hillary, and I was gonna splice and cut those out and put them in the video. Who is this? Okay, I don't know who that is below Ruben, but yeah, thank you. I was responding to Envoy when he was said that he enjoys his dinners. I just got back from eating, so it was. But remember that in during the presidential election cycle, Hillary had that 21. What was it? 8 hour um, interview session. I'll tell you what. It was. You can look this up. It was in October of 2015. It was the day after Biden announced that he was not going to enter the race, and they had her sit down for must be 8+ hours over the Benghazi crap. Yeah, 2012 was the year Benghazi went down, but the fact that they investigated year after year after year, I have Schiff's relation to that now. He was talking about it and whatnot. I was going to put that in there. You didn't go to that restaurant with your. Oh, no, not no Envoy. Oh, that would have been awful. And I would have been over. We wouldn't be doing a live show until maybe 11 or 12 tonight if they were still if it was them again. So no, it's not the same group thing. It was actually only one other person, so it was much easier to deal with than before. Has still not gotten indicted, just like the mom of that kid who got Harambe killed. Yeah, they get away with everything. All she does now is just sit around and talk trash about Sanders because she's a treacherous snake. I mean, I know there are people who like her, and even though they're a small portion of the U.S., but I'll never forget him doing 14 events for her in 5 days and sending him a letter that said in which she thanked him for his campaigning for her, And now she goes around talking trash about him in documentaries and in other places. Oh, and on the Howard, the Howard Stern show too. You know, just watching her remarks when you know what he did for her, it's enough to make the blood boil. You know, Blumenthal's part of the Clinton crew. And you know, Albright with her little dumb self, there's a special place in hell for women who don't support each other. So she literally is encouraging the vagina hive mind. Like, as long as you've got a taco between your legs, you must support the candidate who has one as well. I already told you if I did something like that, I would have been called sexist in a heartbeat. But when a woman does it, it's okay. Yeah, Power, Rice, Jared, all of them, they're garbage. We're gonna just we're gonna name all the people associated with them. Rahm Emanuel. We're gonna spam the chat with names of ne'er do wells. Neera Tanden, all of them, man. Anthony Weiner. I actually had to explain to somebody that that was his real last name because we had the Weiner's Wiener scandal, and they didn't believe that he actually did that. They're like, there's no way his last name was Wiener. You can go look it up. It was a hell of a coincidence, but that was his name. Trying to send his banana to some girl, man. The hell's wrong with you? That'd be funny if I do a documentary on him and then I put the actual thing in the picture, or I put the actual picture in the video and I have to put it on like Live Leak or some other on XX, like put it on some website that is geared toward that. The comedian was hashtag with her. That's really disappointing too. Andrew Cuomo and Frito. You mean just Frito? It's like the N word for us. Oh, speaking of the N word, Bill Maher too. Even though he's a scumbag, I defended him when he used that because I said, you know, we see people use all the time, and if it was such an offensive word, you wouldn't have a group of people using it to describe themselves and each other. Bill Maher is with the new her. Oh yeah, they call what are they calling it? The Globe surge or something? Because she did better than Biden. That they're now saying that she's the new moderate. She's the number two moderate candidate behind the mayor. Admittedly, and I'm not saying this to praise or anything, but I was expecting for her to kind of like I did the remember the video about how Kyle predicted that Kamala would be Sanders' top competition. I expected Klobuchar to get out at some point last year, and she has stayed. So I have to give the clown some kind of credit. I remember before Twitter got rid of my account, I had the hashtag Klobuchar is garbage, and there were like maybe four or five other people that used it, and it was just like me putting that to where if you typed in her name and then something after it that came before 2020. Yeah, oh boy, that's a distant memory. I'm done with that site. I only go on there to thumb up Ruben and other people, and that's about it. And they have this one guy that reports like Dragon Ball stuff, so I go on there to see his stuff occasionally. But outside of that, that site can go to hell. Oh, don't say that, Ruben. Inslee at least was sincere with regard to the environment. Patrick is just a clown that's running just cause. Yeah, I can't get mad at Inslee. He actually did something that was worth a damn, which was securing the climate. Oh, it's a new. Yeah, there. Okay, that's better. I'll take that one. You know, Hickenlooper's trying to run for that Senate seat in Connecticut, and he's getting. I think he's getting smashed in the primary. I gotta go look because I remember he was the front runner, and he actually got in the race, and then that's when it just went boom. Let's go see what his polling status is. I don't know who the hell told him to run for president. That was a dumb idea. I already said before that all the people that are running now, except for maybe Harris, would have ran last time, but they're such cowards and pansies that they didn't want to go against the DNC Hillary machine. That only one person was willing to do that. Technically four, but you know. All right, let's see here. 2020 Senate bid. Go on the page. Wait, what? Oh, okay. I got a little confused. I thought they weren't running anybody. Oh, they haven't updated it since he got out, so we don't have any new polls after August. So he could still win and be in the Senate and oppose Medicare for all from there. continue to be a pain in the side of the progressive wing of the Democratic Party as a Democrat. I don't think any of these governors now are like worth even talking about singularly. So like actually, you know, like we said before that Schiff is a piece of garbage, but he still is worth doing a documentary on because there are a lot of people who don't know his record, and it could be valuable in explaining, you know, why he's not a good political figure, for lack of a more wanting term. But I don't think any of these governors, except maybe the one from Massachusetts, are going to be even remotely considered important or significant. Again, out of the sitting ones. Let me see here. Where did Walt go? He got pissed off and left. I'm so disappointed. Somebody else must be streaming that's also progressive. They caught his attention. I wasn't able to keep it. Netanyahu called out Benny Gantz for having, apparently so. I was very nice. Called out Benny Gantz for having a guy who hates Trump in his campaign. He said that Trump is the best friend that Israel ever had. Yeah, for the wrong reasons. Like, think of how crazy this is. The U.S. is supposed to be a neutral arbiter between the Israelis and the Palestinians, and you've got a potential prime minister of Israel saying that the current U.S. president is the best friend Israel ever had. And you don't see how the U.S. is just in bed with the Israeli government. Hell, they like him more than Truman. Truman is the one to recognize that crap. Apparently, Envoy, I'm just a breaker of hearts or something. I don't know. Most of the time when I like mention something someone did in the past, usually like a joke or just me kind of saying, "Are you kidding me?" in this sort of casual type of way. Now, if I'm actually angry with someone, I won't say their name. That's why with that guy that sat there and lost his mind over that morphed into a troll during that one stream over Johnson. Never heard his name mentioned after that happened. That resistance hack Seth Abramson is calling out Trump for being too close to Netanyahu. I mean, I guess what's the proper term? Broken clock is right twice a day. If he's actually serious about, not liking the closeness that they have. That might be the one foreign policy issue that Obama was better than Trump on, because him and Netanyahu hated each other. And I remember all the way toward the end of his tenure, he actually, I think, blocked the UN security resolution. There was, I have to go look into that, but I just remember he did a little bit on Israel, not that much, but it was still something. Yeah, that documentary, that thing might be. Imagine it's like that video is like 4 or 5 hours long. I should go on Twitter like, hey Gantz, who do you want to challenge you? See if he responds. I did that to Crowley when he lost to AOC. I said, hey, you can come on my show and explain how you feel, and we can give you a platform, and all eight of my active subscribers can watch you. Oh man, that's probably the only time ever I actually messaged a politician to try to get them to appear on the channel. I bet if I had 800,000 subs, actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to say that, because TYT tried to get Hillary to go on their crap, and she said no, and they still endorsed her. So I'm not too shocked that that went the way it did, even though he had nothing to lose. But I can't read into the minds of these politicians. They do all kinds of things that are weird, all kind of strange people that we have running the government. TYT got Jill Stein to go to their show 2 times. Yeah, I remember she actually went on there before we actually had any. Actually, I'm going to keep using that word. She went on there before we had any of the primaries last time around, and she predicted that the DNC would screw over Sanders, and she mentioned how they thought they were learning their lesson from McGovern because of creating a new system after losing overwhelmingly to Nixon for his second term. This must be donate day. Damn. A dual thank you. I know you've been waiting for something else on Patreon. Give me a few weeks. I'll put something else up on there. She was the Green Party candidate during 2012 too. Her leading opponent was Roseanne. And how ironic that would have been if, it's like there's almost sometimes like a biblical type of rejection of certain things. Like, could you imagine if Roseanne was the Green Party candidate in 2012, and then the thing that happened 2 years ago with her actually occurred, and how all the Republicans would say, see that racist Democrat, that racist liberal, see. I'm just so glad she didn't get the nomination now. Like, just in retrospect, how saved we were to not have her be the nominee. That'll just be one more thing for the those types of conservatives where they try to get like a whole ethnic group to switch over to another party. They'll be the first ones to pick her apart over her comments from 2 years ago and be like, that's who the Green Party thought was a good nominee. It's like, well, hell, they didn't have a crystal ball. They couldn't tell she was going to write something stupid on Twitter 6 years later. They must have if they were able to keep her from being the nominee back then. Man, I can't believe it. Yeah, Stein is a really like her and Nader are very underrated. They deserve a lot of recognition for being right on a majority of issues. Roseanne was way different back then. She even worried people about supporting Obama during 2008 because he would be another. Oh, even warned people. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That if we're to assume that she let's say it were to be the Green Party nominee and lose in that election and still turn out to be the way that she is now, they would use her past support of Democrats to call her a Democrat and then say that Democrats or liberals or the Green Party or just any person on the progressive liberal spectrum was racist. Like it would just be another smear attack. I really should do a video on how on like TYT and their little. They have the biggest hate boner for Collins, man. They've been crapping on her in all kind of videos. Like the Democrats are already doing that by themselves to non-Democrats. Hey, did you see that clip of Christie talking about Bloomberg, where he was like he was a Republican when it was convenient and he was independent when it was convenient? It's like wow, he really got him. That might be the most accurate thing Christie said in the last 3 or 4 years, ever since that debate where he called Rubio remember the drive-by 5 second speech or 15 second speech. It's really it's funny that if Christie hadn't have had that little Bridgegate scandal, I'm about 90% sure he would have been Trump's VP, and then we would have never heard of Pence, and we would have never had any of the little electroshock jokes we were talking about before. It's funny how just one little scandal or event can just completely wreck your career. Because Christie, if you look at his campaign when he ran for president, actually steered clear of pretty much ever attacking Trump except for maybe one time. And when they were on the debate stage together, they never attacked each other. It was like this weird thing where they would split the stage amongst the two of them. Yeah, it's a really. I do think that after if whether Trump gets another term or not, I'll probably do a documentary on Barr because he's a hell of a important figure that's going to get overlooked. I'd say probably him and maybe Pruitt are the most interesting Trump cabinet members. Yeah, I saw that comment you wrote a few days ago, Seventh, talking about take some clothes off and be an ethot for some coins. Man, always writing this salacious stuff. I mean, first you said my mother looked like Darth Treya, and then you said I resemble Darth Sidious. After Mace Windu deflects the lightning to his face in Revenge of the Sith, so I don't know what all these attacks are coming from. Some people are saying that Bloomberg is in the election to make the other establishment Democrats look good. A lot of the Joy Reid style phonies are outraged about Bloomberg being a candidate. The phonies, the fakes, the frauds, the scammers. I wouldn't put it past him. I think that he's probably a substitute for Biden. So because they know that he's not doing as well as they thought he would do, so they're going to try to have him stay in after Biden gets out, probably around maybe South Carolina. I really think if he does horrible there, like gets in something less than second place, he'll get out. Because all that crap about Super Tuesday, nobody's going to be motivated for you to vote for you if you've lost all of those states. Someone said it would be really funny if Sanders won every state and they still cheated. I mean, it would be amusing for like a second. I'd be really pissed off that he would get the popular vote in like over 40 states, and then they or more, and then they would do something like that. We really would have a yellow vest movement in the U.S. if that occurs. They'd be they change the name from the Democrats to the Dingbats if they do something like that. Oh, look, we have this candidate who has higher voter turnout in every state. Let's make sure he's not the nominee. even though he won the popular vote. Like I said, the U.S. the only country in the world where you can get the most votes and still lose. I ain't even gonna read what Seventh Day wrote after that. All those insults he's been hurling my way. He must be playing some Star Wars games or something because he's been naming a lot of characters from that franchise. Someone made a chart about what each of the Democratic candidates were getting searched about, and Biden's most searches were about his inappropriate problems. You don't remember that video that CNN did where they played all of the different kind of weird Biden moments, and they even had Cenk in there, and it was kind of weird because they usually don't even acknowledge that that man exists. So to have him in the video just seemed kind of strange. Yeah, every time one of those progressive people goes on network TV, it just feels weird. Like I remember one time I was watching HLN and they had Anna on there, and I was like, what the hell? And they had Kyle on Fox, and they had David on Fox, and they've had Cenk on. Every time they have Cenk on CNN, it's just to smear him. They never talk about his positions. It's just it's the stupid blog post, and your company's name is this, and all that crap that has nothing to do with actually changing any of the issues in the U.S. That's why I said if I ran for office and I actually caught steam, I probably would have to spend half the time on TV explaining my sexist views on chicks or something because they pick one thing to just kind of cry and whine about. So I probably would be less interested in having TV appearances and more into doing like rallies and stuff because you get to control the narrative when you actually interact with the people. Oh yeah, Ruben, I forgot. Well, I didn't count her because she was, if you remember, originally from MSNBC. So I mean, she does fit under the label now, but it's because I'm familiar with her past that I'm less likely to associate her with the underground internet progressive group. So yeah. Let me see what else is here. Oh, there's someone streaming right now. Too bad I can't check them out because I'm also streaming. That'd be funny if you could actually click their thing and then it'll stream that on the side. You like, let's do a live reaction video to this person's stream. I think somebody wrote something new on this. Let me see. I have never seen these people before. Okay, Ruben was praising Michael Bloomberg as a candidate because he's richer than Trump. Yeah, that's a really stupid reason to support someone running for office. But hey, this is the land of of varying intelligence. So okay, this person said on that prostitutes video I did, there are many reasons why some men pay for prostitutes. One, they are horny. Two, they can't get laid or a girlfriend. Three, they don't want to waste time with mind games, so they get to the point. Four, they are old and ugly. I mean, I guess I technically fall under two and three because that chick thing is going nowhere. I guess that I don't know. Maybe two and three are kind of similar. They don't want to waste time with mind games. That kind of would be the same thing for why someone couldn't get with a chick. So I'll approve that because YouTube was automatically holding that comment back, and I was trying to figure out what new one did someone post, and there it was. People have some weird names on here, I swear. I'm looking at this person's name right now, and I'm utterly confused. God, If I had a nickel for every time I saw something that I didn't understand online, I could buy a yacht. There was this porn chick who moved to Las Vegas to start a prostitution business. Oh, okay. Well, now, where'd you go, Urban World? I've been waiting for your comments. It's hard to shop on Amazon while laughing. I don't know why you're laughing, but, you know, you better laugh in your hands. You better go. Oh, is Envoy still making that thing that he said he was doing? What was the last time he wrote a comment? Where is it? Not almost half an hour ago, but it was a while ago. Oh, I'm using my phone, so I only can have one tab open. The one tab of the stream. That's why I have to use another device. But yeah, Ruben, tell me what people do you think are worth doing, like out of Trump's cabinet members, which ones are worth doing a documentary on? Because Barr is looking increasingly interesting. Esper is warning Europe against reaching out to China. I mean, it's not going to work because China is they're expanding themselves economically, so they'll eventually get over there. And Europe's going to look at the benefits of working with them and kind of say Esper can go and go play with himself for all we care. So I don't think he'll be too successful. His warnings will fall on deaf ears. Because we already know where there's money to be made, the reaction and consequences of your words will be delayed. Ruben says Trump destroys everything he gets his hands on. Accountability for supporters' threats. Are you kidding me? This new Biden story, he's trying to get Sanders to apologize because people who like him responded to the culinary union smearing single payer. I love it when they do that. They're like, we fought so hard for our health care and you're going to take it away from us. It's like, no, prick. You guys fought hard to get benefits. And now instead of ones from some crappy insurance company, you're going to get benefits from the federal government. So you're basically going to get what you should have had in the first place from a more reliable source than some company that price gouges people for more coins. But they don't frame it that way because they want to make it look like something's being stolen. I used to have this one tutor that had a beard and kind of like the little, you know how Elliot has like the little what's a good word for it? It's hair on like the sides, but there's nothing at the top. And one of the parents got mad at the tutor, and they were like, "Black Elliot Abrams." We just started laughing, like retroactively, because I didn't know who that was at the time, but I still thought that was funny, and just thinking about it more. Let me see if he's even. Let me see if he's been covered before, or if he has. Because it feels like outside of Iran Contra and then the little brush up he had with Omar, I can't really think of anything he's done in particular. Am I getting them correct? I'm trying to make sure I know what I'm talking about. Oh, okay, yeah, I do. Got him in the right scandal. Don't know if he counts, but Manafort is another guy to learn more about. All I ever hear about is him going to jail. Like that he was a normal guy for 40 years in Republican politics, and then he got around Trump and went to prison. You could literally cut out the last maybe 4 years, and he would just be a normal Republican guy in the background. Oh, we actually saw Abrams did a briefing on Venezuela last month. How did I not see this? which envoy will return. Another big foreign policy during the 80s with Abrams. Yeah, I know they're both Reagan associates. So U.S. politics in the 80s must have been the most boring thing in the world. You had all those regulations being cut, and then the presidential candidates were basically crappy entirely. Just it was a snooze fest. Let's see here. Oh, Biden, the Univision deporting 3 million was a big mistake. Too little, too late. Every time they're out of power, they make themselves sound so much like they're activists and on the side of what's morally right. But then when you give them some power, like, I don't know, VP of the US, I couldn't have said anything. I couldn't have stopped this. I had nothing. I just couldn't do anything about it. Let's see what else is here. Will Bernie have to turn on his bros? Someone actually wrote that article for The Hill. It's like, I'm going to win an election. To do that, I'm going to make sure to basically stick my middle finger up in front of my base. Wish me luck. GOP governor endorses Weld in Vermont primary. Hey, now instead of 2% of the vote, he can get 3. What a difference that made. 80s politics was the Reagan administration starting war with everyone else in the world, including U.S. citizens, under the claim that they were stopping communism. Isn't that kind of what we're still doing today? Like, outside of, where's some countries that we're on good terms with? Outside of like Canada and the UK, aren't we basically just, and hell, we actually did screw with Canada. We remember where we put the sanctions on them out of nowhere, and then we said that Trudeau had betrayed the U.S. even though he was only responding to what Trump had done. But aren't we basically doing the same thing today, where we have the 8 wars? All we do is screw with people. Bloomberg unveils sweeping labor plan. I'm not even gonna read that. Somalia war was already happening during the 80s. We've been messing with them for years. I think it's Somalia and Iran that we've had like the longest just continuous problem with. Like if I were more into doing like videos and just not continuous on like there needs to be some video on just the continuity of how long the US has screwed with various countries, like president by president, law by law. Let's see what else is here. It's time for Ruben to announce he's unsubbing. He's tired of waiting for the Corbin documentary. He's about to he's about to bolt out. What is that election? Let me go look at that. I thought that was in May, where they're going to replace him with some other person for the Labor Party. I wish C-SPAN's website wasn't so frustrating, because they really tanked that McConnell one. At last. The U.S. and Israel were backing South Africa during the 80s to help keep their apartheid policy. Yeah, no, Reagan was a backer of that. At the same time, Israel was secretly helping the freedom revolutionaries, and the USSR was secretly helping the apartheid government. I just know that the before Netanyahu, from what I've seen, Israel wasn't as bad as it is. Same thing with Russia, from what I can remember. That like when Putin and Netanyahu took over those respective countries and leadership positions, they really just tore it to the ground. Go look. Oh man, no, Envoy's not gonna write anything else. He's gonna ignore me for the rest of the stream. He's mad I didn't wait for him to make the rest of his meal. He demanded that I be more patient and attentive to his needs to eat something. So this is his revenge. See, where is this thing? Unsuccessful UK general election. Where is the damn leadership election? Oh, that's next week? Wait, February 21st to April 4th. Okay, I don't even know. It's at some point in the first quarter or beginning of the second quarter this year. That's all I'm gonna say. Because they're too confusing. I mean, it's like, oh, it might be in February, it might be in March, it might be in April. Just pick a date. Tired of that second guessing stuff. Okay, Abrams was part of Guatemala's last wave of military death squads during the 80s. That was brought up during his hearing last year. Yeah, other than the hearings and maybe sometimes they have interviews where they actually ask them about their lives. They don't really ever go into who this person was before X, Y, or Z event. Like every time I hear Abrams get mentioned, Iran Contra, Iran Contra, Iran Contra. Like sing a new song, damn. Oh, those are two familiar names right there. Fowler and Robertson, right there, were friends with that instrument of destruction. It's all lining up perfectly now. I can't remember, but is Jerry Fowler Jr. worse than his dad, or are they about the same? Ruben's not gonna give him a rating. He's gonna let me do my own research and come to my own conclusion. Okay, Envoy's last comment was him saying, I'm leaving this socialist stream alone so I can go eat. And I respect that. Oh yeah, I know that Senior was a much bigger figure than the second one. Second one's kind of just a Trump lackey. I just looked at the nickname he gave for DeGeneres, Ellen Degenerate, just because she's gay. So I never understood that anti homosexual, like just any of the anti gay stuff. It's always been weird to me. I'm gonna hate you because some old book told me to. Yeah, people are so weird. They do all kind of strange stuff. Remember last week the whole Oprah and Gail stuff? Didn't Gail say something about Kobe and then Snoop Dogg threatened to do something to her? It was I didn't pay that much attention to it, but uh, okay, now I remember. Well, I heard people call them Okra and Kale. Imagine if they called Oprah Khalifa and Gail Kale. And then the two of them together would be Kefla. It would be a nice little reference to something else. But yeah, I didn't know the details of that until I saw the one video from Snoop Dogg, and that was about it. So I hope I didn't disappoint you. And I heard they're charging for to go to the to Kobe's certain memorial service or something, which is insane. But hey, people will profit off of anything at this point. See what else is in the news. Go here and investigate and check this out and do all my thorough research. Okay, Trump's going to be a grand marshal, blah, blah, blah. Kobe wants to challenge General Soleimani for how many attend his funeral. Oh, that was Envoy that wrote that. You guys have those same white backgrounds, and my screen is smaller. Yeah, I don't think Soleimani charged people either. I didn't hear anything about that. I don't know. Iran doesn't seem like the kind of place where, like, we always talk about the screwed up government having the supreme leader for decades, but the actual people I've never really seen that seem to be that crazy. And I mentioned that with Israel, they did polls and they were finding out that a lot of the younger Israelis are actually like just anti-Palestinian and kind of horrible people innately because they're raised by horrible people. And I had mentioned that because I was saying how you have idiots who actually think things will just get better if you give it enough time. When if the same crappy cycle repeats itself with horrible people raising children, they make them horrible as well. So, that was an example I gave that just fell on deaf ears. I should have known that was something Envoy would bring up and not Ruben. Because Envoy likes all that pop culture stuff. He's probably got a Cardi B poster in his room right now. Netanyahu's prosecutor Elhud Barak was a regular guest on Epstein's Island. Not surprised. And then we know that Barr's dad was the headmaster at that school where he enrolled Epstein as a teacher. We know you're more into that stuff than Ruben is. That's why your entire bedroom is filled with a bunch of CDs. You have everyone's album because you're a completionist. I can just picture someone actually tries to buy like every single released in a year or a decade or whatever. Ehud Barak was one of Netanyahu's biggest opponents. Let me see here. He was in his rogues gallery. I was wondering where Envoy went. He just vanished. You know, he made this food and he just, that's spending in the multi-million range, if not billion. Hey, well, you can get it illegally like everybody else. There are actually a whole bunch of songs I would buy by themselves, but then they're part of some album where I'm just kind of like, yeah. I told you I was making spaghetti. That spaghetti didn't take that long. It takes about maybe 5 minutes to 10 at the most to make some spaghetti. So unless you were importing it from some other country, don't buy it. You probably had your ex-wife over and you were negotiating with her for how much the spaghetti you could have. That'd be funny if you only won like a quarter of it and she took the rest and, and like the whole thing. I didn't say there's no way to get a one song bites because iTunes does that too. But I'm just saying that a lot of times if I see a physical copy of some song in the store, I don't get it because it's with 10 other ones that I don't really care that much about. But it's like you're not even listening to me. CD album stopped being good last decade. It always only one good song that the album along with the one hit. Yeah, I've seen that before. I would buy an album, and I only did this maybe 2 or 3 times, but you get the album and you hear that one song, you skip to it, and the rest of it's just okay or crappy. Like I asked this one guy, name one song that Snoop Dogg did after 2004 that wasn't Drop It Like It's Hot. And he couldn't name any. Oh my God. I'm a fan of this person so much I can only name one song they did. Told me that no, I didn't. I'm always trying to turn into the new CNN. Hey, you lucky they won't let me change anybody's name in there. I would have you get like a new CNN account or something. We would call you JNN and you would have the fake news logo as your avatar. And then Ruben wrote something so mean that he reflected and deleted it really quickly. She sucks. Yeah, I didn't tell him that he's making stuff up. He's trying to be a comedian. He wants to be the new Jimmy Dore. He's gonna be the Jimmy Dore of the comment section. You know, they had this one Bernie rally where Michael Moore was there and he was talking about how the candidates were saying that they were safe, the moderate ones. And he said, you go on the dating website and you see some person's description and see if you're attracted to them if they say they're safe. You'd be like hell you are. I'm just imagine, like I almost want to do that like as a social experiment to make a dating account and be like, and having the description, I'm safe. Just to see if anyone actually types that out or just as an in joke to that. Like hell you are. Because the sad thing is, like I just picture him saying that about a man's profile, but I feel like if a chick did that, she would probably still have about 3 or 4 guys try to inquire and say, "Oh, I found you to be so sophisticated because you said you were safe." Because you know, whenever it's a broad that does something weird, we acquiesce to their petulance, make it seem like it's not that big of a deal. I know Envoy remembers these streams where I would have the phone and just hold it for like a whole long period of time. Till my arm broke off. I'm safe. I don't know how your arm didn't fall off. I mean, that's when I got the computer, and that's why you would see my chest or whatever. And then people would complain about the audio and the visuals and everything else. And I kept saying, if I'm gonna just get, just a couple people watching, I don't really see the point of going through the length of doing this other stuff. Remember that guy, those two guys? You over there sitting in your chair. It's like, would you like me to stand? And then Walt was like, look at the couch. I'm like, dude, I had a chair and a background and whatnot for years before these people destroyed it. So, you can go watch those videos. So I just wish people would admit that certain stuff just doesn't matter. Like I could have a HD camera and I'd still get 20 or 30 views. And we know I would because I just did that last week and got the same number of views as when I had the supposedly worse audio and visuals. I could have some, I don't know, crystal clear background with graphics and I'd still get the same number because it doesn't matter. Not anywhere near what these people are claiming it does. It's just really funny that people make things that are not a big deal just appear to be such a huge issue. It's like, oh my God, he's got a new camera. Me and one other person are gonna watch this. Sitting in your chair. I'm gonna do it to Envoy. Are you eating your spaghetti? Some of the things people write on here just like, could you be any more invasive? How is this relevant? Hey, when I did the stream on, I think it was Thursday, uh, I was like, oh, someone complained about my camera quality, so here's my phone's quality. So forget my harm. Oh, would you remember the stream from what was it, like 2 months ago? The most blamed man of all time. If somebody doesn't watch a video, I get blamed. If somebody doesn't hire me, I get blamed. If some hoe doesn't go on a date with me, I get blamed. Man, this is just the finger that one person repeatedly showcase. I mean, that's crazy as hell. Last girl I liked moved away, and I never heard from her again. Actually, I think it happened to my best friend because he was talking to some chick, and then he found out she lived halfway across the state or something. And he was trying to make it work, and she just like didn't even bother responding. I really wish he would come back on for another stream because that other one was perfect. I think he'll come back out here probably during the summer. Maybe I can get him to download Google Hangouts or something. He can put a picture of a panda on his screen so you guys can't see him. So he doesn't have anyone trying to insult his appearance. I remember when I had a little romance with a woman in Nigeria while I was on family vacation. When I had to leave, I was kind of upset. You said, I like you like me. Let me insert in you my salami. I got a great banana that I can stick in your. Man, when I was 14, I already got turned down like 3 times. I'm telling you, when I went online, that just accelerated it because I was like, all these chicks on here, there's no way they're all gonna say no, and they did. Even ones that say yes still say no. That's how crazy they are. That's why I said you can't win. Now when you got people like the Dear John letter writer, I think you're so attractive and you're so smart and you're so funny, but I'm not attracted to you. It's like, what? This girl went to school with me and we graduated together. That sounds more tragic than this computer stuff with me and these other ones. You know, I have enough humility to admit something like that. Oh, my poor arm. Imagine, like, I can't do this video for a week. I can't hold up the camera anymore. It must. That'd be funny if, like, I have a stronger punch from just holding the camera for so long. I'm able to, like, break boulders and stuff. Like, how'd you get so strong? I held the camera for 80 minutes. Oh, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap this up soon because I don't want to. I mean, I think I've made up for the period in which I didn't do a stream, or rather, I think I've made up for not doing one at the designated time. So, thank you to 3 people that donated. That's a new record for the streams. Gained arm strength with only in one arm. Hey, well, I could have sworn that's how it's supposed to be because you use one arm more than the other one. So if you're left hand, use your left arm. If you're right hand, use your right arm. But yeah, thank you to the 3 people that donated. Thank you to I think it was at most 6 that came in here. I'll be doing a stream tomorrow as well at a time I can't specify. It could be in the early afternoon. It could be in the evening, probably in the afternoon, but you know, I don't know what's going to happen. I'd like to thank Envoy for showing up. I wish he had been here for more of it, but you know, his spaghetti was so important. And I thank Duel for being on Patreon. I wish he had commented, but you know, a donation is also good. I mean, again, I'm not trying to be a prick. So if someone actually can engage, I think they should. But whatever, it's your prerogative. So thank you and have a good night.